So tell us about your time seeing Notre Dame's quarterback commits in the 2025 class. And then I know you wrote a good story today inside quarterback Blake Hebert's unpredictable path to becoming a Notre Dame pledge. You also got to report on his official visit. So a lot of Blake Hebert reporting at Blue and Gold recently. So yeah, tell us about your time seeing him. And I definitely am one here just talking with him as a young man, what that was like.
Yeah. So I'll try to play the video, Mike. If it does end up choppy, you can go
Yeah.
ahead and play it yourself. But yeah, so I'm gonna pop this on here.
Let me just, if you don't mind, Kyle,
Okay,
I'll just do it on my own.
easy enough.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about Blake Hebert, my travels last week, but there was just way too much to discuss with his uh, with the Notre Dame versus Florida State visitor weekend this past Saturday. So didn't really get the chance to touch on him a whole lot. So that's why he's kind of the focus of the show this week. And just kind of recapping my travels briefly, the way I set it up is I flew in there on Friday. I got to spend some time out at practice with him the night before the game. Then I went and saw him on Saturday evening after I was at Nolan James's game at DePaul Catholic. I made my way up, or it was in Montvale, New Jersey at St. Joseph's Regional, but I made it up to Paulding, New York, about an hour drive to watch Brunswick School take on Trinity Paulding, and came away very impressed with Blake Hebert. That New England conference, like, it's not really known for having top competition, but
The top
I
end is really good, right? Like,
there basically the competition there is much better than you would think.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think Trinity Paulding is one of those teams. I probably, if you're looking at some of the teams in that NEAP-SAT conference, probably have the least amount of like college recruits. But I still was able to get a pretty good look at Blake Hebert, and he put on a show. He completed I think it was first 10 passes for 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, led them to 5 straight scoring drives in the first half. And he did it all without running it all on the ground, which is probably one of his elite traits, kind of like Riley Leonard. I even asked him in my conversation about him if Notre Dame has compared him to Riley Leonard at all. I asked Matty Augustine if he sees the comparisons at all. And I can't say for certain that it's really come up in the conversations between Hebert and the Notre Dame coaching staff, but in talking to him, he kind of agreed that he could see the resemblances. But he made sure to tell me that he's a pass-first guy. And that was the case when I saw him about 2 weeks ago in that game. And it's been a very interesting senior season for Hebert because this is his first at Brunswick School. He started his high school career at Central Catholic in Lawrence, Massachusetts, a little bit north of Boston, the same school that Notre Dame linebacker Preston Zinner attended. Suffered an ankle injury, ironically, not the same injury as Riley Leonard, but still an ankle injury at the start of his junior year. Wiped out his entire junior season. And once again, ironically to Riley Leonard, kind of started out slow during his senior season, but he's really been able to find a groove. And the difference that he's made for this Brunswick School team has been very impressive. He's led them to an 8-1 record. They're going to play in the conference championship game on Saturday. Last year they were 5-4, so he's really elevated the roster. And talking to Augustine and Long, and then their head coach at Brunswick School, the difference that he's made is been outstanding. And I'll share the one quote that his head coach gave me. And he said that since day one, since he's got here, he's been one of the best I've been around. I put him above and beyond anyone that I've been around. Just his work ethic, his demeanor, the positivity, the way he can pick someone up, the leadership, the way he makes people around him better is unmatched. That's what you look for in the quarterback. He's the best to do it. And McGillicuddy's comments came, and with the asterisk that he's been around a lot of talented football players and coach at Florida Atlantic, a number of Division III schools, and he said that Blake Hebert is by far the best player he's ever been around. And in spending time with him on Friday and Saturday, I can definitely see where he's coming from. I echoed some of my thoughts in a premium gold standard story the Monday after my trip out to Brunswick School. And then, as you mentioned, Mike, today on Blue and Gold, I wrote a pretty extensive feature on Blake Hebert's path to Notre Dame and how Brunswick School played a major factor in him flipping from the Irish flipping from Clemson to the Irish.
Yeah.
And it was quite the journey for him, and was able to get some insight from him, his two teammates who are Notre Dame commits, Matty Augustine, Ethan Long, and a coach, of course, his head coach, Wayne McGillicuddy. So please check that out at Blue and Gold. And just summarizing my thoughts once more, very impressed with Blake Hebert. I love the fit for Notre Dame. I think he has a chance to be an handbook type of player. Whereas, maybe he's not going to be, the flashiest guy in terms of, like a Deuce Knight, just for example, where, those elite athletic 5-star traits and things like that. But I think he's going to be very successful at Notre Dame, and he has an incredibly bright future.
Okay, watching this, Kyle did a really good job shooting this. I get like a mix. And look, when you talk about like player comps, it's as goals we talk about. It's like a fun comp. And we're doing like traits, right? We're not saying, oh, he is going to be this player. Okay. That aside. I get like the kind of the movement, mechanics. Drew Pine. Pine was really he was a better quarterback than he gets credit for. He was just so short and limited athletically and physically, right? But mechanically and the mental makeup, Pine was really, really good. I get like the best of Drew Pine I see in Blake Hebert. Then I get like the some of the physical body
I know where this is going.
northeast of Steve Angeli.
Interesting.
Cold weather quarterback. Like I see some like bigger. I get some Steve, and then the movement ability of Riley. Like you see some of that. You said he didn't really. You said he had no rushing in this game you were at.
No, but then on Saturday, so last Saturday, had 200 rushing yards, including a 99-yard touchdown. So
let me pop that up. Kyle, you tweeted that, right?
Yes.
All right, let me get this up here.
And while you do that, you know who he might compare best to out of all is honestly CJ Carr. There's a lot of resemblances between Hebert and CJ Carr.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, he runs better than CJ for sure.
Yes.
But CJ is just this well-rounded, mechanically sound quarterback, so that makes sense. So he's kind of like a mix of all of these recent and you bring up recent Notre Dame quarterbacks because they're just who's fresh in mind, like Jason in the chat just said, Andrew, like yeah, not as recent for me. I was in high school when Andrew was a Notre Dame guy. So, but that's who like I see again the kind of the mental and the mechanic Drew Pine, the body type cold weather Angeli. I like my Notre Dame quarterbacks. I've been saying this for years. I like Notre Dame quarterbacks from the North. I do. Cold weather quarterbacks going to play at Notre Dame, I think just works best, especially if you're playing outdoor games in South Bend in December. I like my quarterback to have grown up, and this kid's from Canada, and then some of the movement skills of Riley Leonard, Ian Book, but I think this kid has the projection to work better in the pocket than Happy Feet Ian Book.